Hi everybody! Today's video is super casual, but I needed to make a video talking about dating and more specifically online dating. I'm only going to be talking about my experiences that I know my friends had. This is all coming from personal experience. I realized that some people have amazing experiences with online dating, horrible experiences. Some people have met crazy stalkers. Some people have met the love of their life, the person they ended up marrying, okay? So just take this video with a grain of salt. I am just going to be telling you about myself. If you want to know juicy information, well, here's your chance. My history with online dating, I created a Tinder when I was 18 in high school, just for funsies. I would create it at a sleepover and then get bored and then delete it, and it was very situational like that, never serious, never wanted to meet anyone from Tinder. I was kind of the same way throughout college. I had a steady Tinder account and I would only meet people if I knew them from college beforehand. I'm very paranoid, and so the fact of just meeting a stranger never really sat right with me. I don't know, man. We hear so many things that really freaks me out. I did try to dabble in the hinge world early on in college, and that freaked me out extra hard because everybody on hinge for the most part really wanted a serious relationship, something long-term, and that was never something that I thought I was ready for, yet alone to find off of an app. I always told myself I want to find real love naturally. I want a little meet cute moment. But listen, as I'm getting older, I'm realizing that it's just not realistic to set your hopes on if you are somebody that genuinely feels like you're ready for a relationship. I don't know about you, but if I was just studying at a coffee shop and I did have a meet cute moment, I would think that that person is weird as hell for approaching me. In fact, that had happened before where I've been oh my god, I'm minding my business. Can they not tell that I'm minding my business? Why are they approaching me? When in reality, that's what I'm saying that I want. Also, things aren't how they were in my parents' day and age. There's more technology, and that impacts the way that we view the world and the way that we interact. People are not approaching each other as often as they used to anymore, and that's just the reality. And I think a lot of our parents judge online dating, and they judge just that way of meeting people, and that's a lot of people have to lie about the way that they meet people, but it's really not embarrassing at all. I have never had a long-term relationship, and I have never wanted one. I've never felt like I've been ready for one. I've just gone through a lot in my life, and a boyfriend would have just made everything way worse. I think that is totally okay. I think a lot of people feel really embarrassed and really ashamed of not having a boyfriend, not doing things with boys or girls, and it's nothing to feel ashamed about, and it's something that I feel really passionately about. I'm a year out of undergrad. I'm about to graduate with my master's, and I was you know what? I have supreme anxiety in my hometown. Every single time I leave the house, I get really anxious, and I don't really know why. I think that there's a lot of factors that go into it. I was bullied a lot when I was a child. It got better when I was in middle school and high school, but it's still something that I carry heavy on my heart. So I think my hometown represents a lot of pain for me, and that manifests in anxiety every single time I leave the house, and it's something that I'm trying to work on, but it's really hard. And so I thought, why don't I just download Hinge again and surf Hinge, and maybe something will work out and I'll go on a date, because I think that would be something that would help my anxiety. And so I downloaded Hinge, and anytime you get a dating app, it's super overwhelming because you have to post a billion pictures of yourself and little prompts. You're what do I say? How do I sound funny but not weird? And I do really like Hinge. I do like the way that it works. I think that if you're looking for a relationship or something a little bit more serious than a hookup, Hinge is the way to go. Can't stand Bumble for some reason. That just never worked for me. But I downloaded Hinge, and I had no idea what location I'm gonna end up in a couple of months, which is another reason why I was maybe I should wait. But I just felt you know, I should download Hinge. So I did, and the matches started coming in, and I feel some people are just weird about communication on the apps. I hate it when people ask for your snap and not your number. I'm why are we are we two? I went on 2 dates within the past 2 weeks with 2 different guys. So the first one, he asked me to meet up somewhere and he didn't ask for my number. This was all over Hinge, by the way. And he was like, do you want to go to a coffee shop? I'm like, sure. And then he tells me that he doesn't like coffee after we already set up the location. I'm like, why would you recommend a coffee shop? He point blank tells me my sister told me to meet at a coffee shop because if you're weird, I can just leave. King moves, I guess, for being honest with me. And I was like, oh my god, I need to ghost this boy or just like not show up. But I was like, I'm just gonna show up and it'll be fine. And this boy was actually like cuter than his profile pictures, and he hugged me and opened the door and paid, and the conversation I don't remember. Like, it was not good. It was not good. He didn't ask me a single question about myself. I don't know anything about him, and we just talked about sports the entire time, and I'm like, this is not it. But at the end of the day, I was feeling really happy and really elated because I was like, oh my god, he was so normal. He was cuter than his profile pics, and he hugged me and opened the door and paid, and I was like, hold on a second, girlfriend. Like, that is the bare minimum. Like that, like, why am I so happy? Why is the bar on the floor that I'm so happy when he paid for a smoothie? I ended up refusing to meet him at a coffee shop because he hates coffee. So that's why we ended up going to a smoothie place, and man showed up 30 minutes late. He went to a different location after I had already told him what street it was on, and it was a whole thing. But I decided to let everything go because, hey, like, I know that he was nervous too. He told me that he doesn't like date a lot, and he was older than me, but I did, at the end of the day, was like, oh my god, it did went really well. But then I slept on it and I woke up, I was like, it didn't go well, like, at all. I was just happy that he did the bare minimum, which is a whole nother video to talk about why the bar is on the floor, which I feel like sometimes a lot of people can disagree with, but I have like my reasoning behind it. And also I just feel like I am super happy and content with being alone and being in my singleness right now, and I'm never gonna get to a point, knock on wood, where I feel desperate enough where I have to settle. Like, I'm just not doing that. I will say at the end of the day, I really felt like it wasn't going that well. Like, the conversation was kind of lulling, and then this boy out of nowhere, he was like, well, it was super amazing to meet you. Like, I totally want to spend more time with you. I don't know how you're feeling, but I feel like I really want to see you again, and all of this stuff. And I was like, well, this is so weird because I had never felt like you felt that way. Well, sure enough, he never asked for my number. Everything kind of dissipated. Like, we chatted on Hinge for a while, and that was kind of it. And I don't feel like sad or mad or anything about that, and I'm glad that I went on that date because it really helped with my anxiety. I got there super early, and then he was 30 minutes late, and I was shaking. I was so nervous, and I'm glad that I went because it really helped my social anxiety. I felt like it's good to put yourself in these situations as long as you know that you're being safe. So that was it. I was like, okay, I'm kind of exhausted, and I've only went on one date. But this other guy messaged me, and he asked me for my number. Now, I don't know what you feel about this, but sometimes it's like really weird giving people your number. I don't always love to do it, but I had a feeling about this guy, and I kind of stalked him a little bit, so I knew what he was telling me about like what he did and stuff was legit. And that's another thing, I didn't internet stalk the first guy, and my friend was like so surprised that I didn't stalk him, so she did, and then I found out like all of the stuff about him, and I'm like, well, I'm glad I didn't cyber stalk him before. I don't know why it didn't even cross my mind to like do a quick Google search to like make sure he wasn't like super shady, but I did that with the second guy, and it's just like not super intense stalking, like just making sure that like he was legit. Anyways, so I picked the place and we met for dinner, and we were texting for a couple of days beforehand, and he like was such a good texter. Like, he was saying all the right things, and so I was really nervous to meet him. I was like, we have a great relationship, like just texting, and like I don't need to meet him. And everyone was like, that's stupid. I'm like, yeah, it is stupid, but like here we are. So I met him, and the whole date was absolutely fantastic. Again, he did all the bare minimum things, hugged me up in the door, paid, like all of that stuff. The conversation was so well. Like, he remembered what we were texting about. He asked me questions about myself every single time I tried to direct it onto him. He was like directing it onto me. And then at the end of the day, he asked me to go home with him, and I don't know how you guys feel about that stuff. I'm not very judgmental. Like, I think that if you want to, you totally should, and you're right to do that, but something in my gut was telling me not to, and so I didn't. And then I was feeling bad about it after the fact, but then I had several conversations with people and they were like, why would you feel bad like for sticking to your boundaries? And then I thought about it a little bit more because it's character growth that I wouldn't have had in college, and I genuinely am so proud of myself for sticking to my boundaries, for going on these dates even though it terrified me and like I couldn't eat for the full day before because I was so anxious. So I said no, and this guy didn't pressure me or whatever, which I really appreciate, because the second he did, like, we're not seeing each other again. He kissed me in the freaking parking lot. I was shocked. Oh my god. It was slow motion. I was like, what is going on? But then I could tell, I think that he wanted to like do more, but I'm like, I'm not making out with this stranger that I just met an hour ago in the parking lot of my hometown. Like, no way. But, and then the texting ever since then has been like, okay. He had a week off, so he was more available to like text and talk, and he wakes up so early. Like, he texts me every single morning at like 5 a.m. and now I'm just kind of like, I don't know if I want to see him again, but then I did want to see him again. And guys, I was so awkward at the end of our date. I said, I definitely want to see you again, which I don't know why I would say that, but I did. And he said, me too. And I said in a squeaky mouth voice, I said, wait, really? Why did I say that? Like, I don't know why I said that. Like, I'm trying to be a cool cucumber, and I feel like I just gave away all my cards. But also it's stupid because we're all people living this insane human experience, and we should be able to be honest with each other, but also like societal rules and all of this stuff. It just makes my head explode. The date went really well. I'm not going to overthink the date because of what is happening after the fact, and I think that that is something that like always would trip me up with my overthinking and stuff. But I had a good date. I know that he had a good date. He was super cute, and so I was like, I'm just gonna milk this, because if he doesn't want to see me after, at least I had a good date. And I feel like he did too, because he spent a whole 2 hours talking to me, and we had dinner, and he still kissed me after. But then I was like, does he literally just want to hook up? But then I was like, well, he's on Hinge. He said he wanted a long-term relationship, so I just try not to overthink. And it really has helped my anxiety. And I'm so glad that I did this, because even if I don't see him again, at least I had so much character growth. I know for sure, for certain, that I'm not settling, like, at all. And it's just done wonders for me personally. If you want to date, I would totally recommend doing it. I know it's super nerve-wracking and super scary, but hey, I just knew I wasn't gonna find a random to go on a date with on the street without any help. And I'm glad I did. And I will continue to do it, but I need a break. Like, I need a break. I'm not going on a second date with this one kid. I just need a break for a couple of weeks or maybe even a month, because it is mentally draining. But I'm just really glad that I did it, and now it's less scary. But yes, online dating, it's just a whole minefield, and people are horrible, and people ghost, and there's not really a lot of care for human emotions. I feel like we don't tend to think of them, or like people that we meet on dating apps, as real people, but we are all real people with real emotions. And you just kind of have to guard yourself a little bit, because people will be horrible. People will say like the most disgusting thing to you, or gonna ghost. I mean, I have been there, I've done that, and I'm not proud of it, but sometimes it's just the easiest thing to do, and it's not the right thing to do, and we all learn from it. It was kind of fun to like get ready for a date and pick my outfit out and do my makeup and my hair, and I don't know, man, I felt like I was 15 years old, like, all again. And definitely different from like going on a date in college, where like you already know the person, or you like have already hooked up with the person beforehand, so it's like not that nerve-wracking, and it's kind of like whatever. It's just very, very different. And yeah, let me know if you want me to start a series or just document things like this more in real time. I cannot tell you how anxious I was. Like, I am a pretty extroverted person, but I have a lot of components and stuff that make up me that just make me super nervous sometimes. So it is doing wonders for my anxiety, and I want to talk about it. If you want me to make like more videos about this topic, and specifically like hearing loss related, because that is something that I was like super stressed out about, I can definitely do it. But I just wanted to kind of make this video, document it more for myself, and I will see you guys in my next video. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.